My name is Dean Alderson. My father was Carl Alderson. Carl was a B-17 co-pilot that was shot down over Italy October 6, 1943. And the purpose of what I want to say is primarily to thank the people of Italy, Brescia, northern Italy, um, of, of allowing him to escape to Switzerland. But his story starts on the 24th mission of his crew, his B-17. They were flying out of Tunisia. They were strafed by German fighters over northern Italy. And from what I understand, the bomb bay doors were jammed because of the strafing and the rockets. And also the rudder and airplane controls were jammed, so they could not maneuver. From what my father told me, as being one of the pilots, he felt very helpless that he couldn't turn the plane, couldn't guide the plane. All they could do is decide to bail out. So from what I understand, communications were also cut off between the front and the back of the plane. And so there was an attempt to walk back to the bomb bay doors to first examine the wreckage and then figure out how to get out of the plane. My father didn't talk very much about this. I didn't think he felt like he did anything out of the ordinary. He was like everybody else. They were a team that would work together, and they rapidly got out of the plane. He believed one person was already dead, but didn't know for a long time the fate of everybody on the plane. So, along with everyone that he could find in the plane, they bailed out. This was the second time my father had parachuted out. Parachuted. One was in training camp, and one was at over Brescia. He was not happy about bailing out because before they were hit, they were being strafed by fighters, and that's what they got as they descended in a parachute. They were shot at by fighters. My father was shot in the leg, got shrapnel in his leg, but not anything life-threatening. He played dead and hit the ground. From what I understand, he was almost instantly surrounded or shepherded by local people who spirited him away to a farmhouse. He didn't know exactly what was happening. He knew they weren't Germans; they spoke Italian, but he didn't know if what sympathies they had, and it became gradually obvious that he was in friendly hands. His main, what he talked about the most was the generosity, the bravery, and the help that he received from the people of Italy. After all, for 23 missions, he had been bombing Italy, mainly at railroad facilities, production facilities, harbors, and it took it was something that he was aware of that the bombing could certainly kill innocents on the ground. So when he landed from the parachute and was taken to a farmhouse, there was a little fear of what would happen to him. He didn't speak Italian. He grew up on a farm in the panhandle of Texas. He was a little isolated from the world, and when he was surrounded by people talking Italian, it took him a while to realize that they weren't going to turn him into the Germans. In fact, they were hiding him. Several days went by where his wounds were treated, and then on the 8th of October, he was moved to what he calls a mountain rebel camp. And I wish I knew where this was. Wish I knew more about it, but I don't. And there he stayed approximately a week. And he had basically time to recover. He wrote notes to himself. And mainly, he learned a little Italian, but probably not enough. There were some times where he didn't know if he should try to escape or stay at the hands of the people that had him. And thank God he stayed with the people, because they took care of him, and eventually brought him to a place where he could recover and eventually go back over the Alps to Switzerland.